What if your soulmate came with glowing powers and deadly enemies? Meet a confident baddie and her soft soulmate in Soft Boys and Soul Marks, a modern fantasy romance you won't want to miss. The Marked Future. The mark glowed softly in the moonlight, a silent promise of the power and love that bound them. No longer just a symbol of fate. It was a beacon of hope in a world on the brink of change. Together, they would face every challenge, every enemy, every unknown. Because soulmates weren't just a myth, they were a force to be reckoned with. And this was only the beginning. Chapter 1. No one believes in soulmates anymore. There are 3 things I don't believe in: love at first sight, anything before I am, and soulmates, especially soulmates. So when I walked into my regular coffee shop that Monday morning, hungover on dry shampoo and delusion, the last thing I expected was to meet mine. But fate, like my ex-bestie, is a messy little liar. The place was packed. I was already 5 minutes late to my PR consult, so I waltzed past the line like I owned it. I basically did. Heels clicking and hips swaying like a TikTok thirst trap. Same order, came a soft voice from behind the counter. I didn't even look up, obviously. He chuckled the audacity and turned to make my drink. His name was Ezra. Quiet. Soft. Looked like he'd cry if you raised your voice. Total golden retriever vibes. I called him Barista Bambi to his face once. He'd blush so hard I thought he might faint. We'd been doing this flirty or annoying dance for months. I came in, I teased. He gave me free oat milk. That was the relationship. But today, something was different. When he handed me my drink, his fingers brushed mine and I felt it. A spark. No, more than that. A burn. I dropped the cup. It hit the floor with a dramatic splat. Espresso and foam bleeding across the tile like a crime scene. What the hell? I muttered, stepping back. But my eyes were locked on my wrist. Glowing. Literally glowing. A strange, swirling mark had appeared just below my palm. Warm like a fresh tattoo. Humming like it was alive. My jaw dropped. No, 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 no. Ezra just stared. I think we're... Don't say it. But he said it anyway. I think we're soulmates. I turned on my heel and bolted, nearly slipping in my own spilled latte. Because I don't do soulmates. And I definitely don't do sweet boys with big brown eyes and zero survival instincts. But the worst part, as I ran out the door, I felt the mark pulse again like it was happy. Chapter 2. You can't return a soulmate. I didn't stop running until I reached my apartment for blocks. 2 near-death cab encounters, and 1 weird old lady yelling the mark chooses as I sprinted past. Inside, I slammed the door shut and stared at my wrist. Still glowing, still real, still the ugliest proof that the universe had officially lost its damn mind. This is a prank, I muttered, storming to the bathroom mirror. This is some elaborate TikTok stunt. Maybe Ezra's in on it. Maybe he microdosed me with soulmate glitter. The mark pulsed again. Okay, not a prank. I splashed cold water on my face like that would magically erase it. Spoiler, it didn't. And then came the knock. 3 soft taps. Like whoever was on the other side had the nerve to be polite. I opened the door halfway. Ezra stood there, holding my half-drenched coffee with both hands, like it was a peace offering from some romance novel I would never read. He scratched the back of his neck. I thought you might want this. I stared at him. You followed me. You left in a panic. I was worried. You should be worried, I snapped. You're not my soulmate. The glow on my wrist brightened, traitorous and smug. Ezra didn't flinch. I didn't ask for this either. But we should talk about it. I rolled my eyes so hard I nearly pulled a muscle. Fine. 5 minutes. He walked in like a puppy trying not to pee on the carpet. Sat on the edge of my couch. Didn't even touch the throw pillows. What kind of man respects a woman's throw pillows? I stayed standing. Look, he said. You clearly don't believe in soulmates. Correct. But I do. Figures. And I think there's a reason this mark appeared now. Maybe we're meant to help each other. I folded my arms. You work in a coffee shop and apologize when people cut you in line. What could you possibly help me with? He looked down. I know things. About soul marks. About powers. I blinked. Powers? He looked up again. And this time his eyes weren't soft, they were glowing. Just for a second. Like stars trapped in caramel. My stomach dropped. Oh, yeah. He said quietly, you're not just marked. You're awakening. Chapter 3. Awakening. I stared at Ezra like he'd just told me the sky was green. Awakening? What does that even mean? I asked, crossing my arms, trying to act cool but feeling my heartbeat trip over itself. Ezra took a deep breath, his soft eyes locking onto mine with a seriousness I hadn't seen before. It means your soul mark isn't just a pretty tattoo. It's a sign. You're starting to unlock powers you never knew you had. Powers? Like what? Turning invisible? Flying? Summoning latte art on command? I snarked, but inside, I was curious and terrified. He smiled a little. Maybe. Everyone's different. But the mark reacts to your emotions. The stronger you feel, the more your power grows. I looked down at my glowing wrist and suddenly felt like I was wearing a neon sign screaming, "I'm special, not my vibe." So, what? I'm some kind of superhero now, because I didn't sign up for that. My voice was sharper than I intended. I wasn't ready to be the chosen one in some cosmic drama. Ezra leaned forward. You don't have to be, but ignoring it won't make it go away. I'm here to help. I swallowed hard. Part of me wanted to believe him. The other part wanted to grab my shoes and run. Why me? Why now? I asked. He hesitated, then said, because the world's changing. There are others like us. And the more people awaken, the more dangerous it gets. You're caught in something bigger. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to scream. Instead, I just stared at the glowing mark, realizing this was only the beginning. Chapter 4. The rules they didn't tell us. Ezra pulled out an old, creased notebook from his backpack, flipping it open like it was a sacred text. This, he said, is how I learned about soul marks and the powers tied to them. I leaned in, curiosity sneaking in despite myself. Rule number 1. You don't control the mark. It controls you sometimes, especially in the beginning. He tapped my glowing wrist gently. I winced. Great. So I'm like a magic puppet now. Not exactly, Ezra said softly, but your emotions trigger your abilities. So if you stay calm, you can keep control. But if you lose it, well, you might cause some accidents. I rolled my eyes, like spilling coffee everywhere. He smiled, but there was something serious under it. Like that, or worse. Worse than a latte crime scene. I asked, half joking. Much worse. He flipped to another page. Rule number 2. Soulmates linked by marks share energy. Your moods affect each other, even from a distance. I blinked. So if you're having a bad day, I might accidentally set my phone on fire? He laughed. Hopefully not. But yes, we're connected. The thought of being emotionally tied to someone I barely tolerated made me want to run for the hills again. But here's the kicker, Ezra said, his tone dropping. Rule number 3. Not everyone with the mark is a friend. Some awakenings bring out the worst in people. I swallowed hard. So, what? We're in some kind of magical Hunger Games now? Kind of, he nodded. But we stick together. That's why I came to you. I looked at him, sweet, soft Ezra, and realized this wasn't just about glowing tattoos or powers. It was about survival. And maybe, just maybe, it was about trust. Chapter 5. Coffee, chaos, and confessions. The next morning, I found myself back at the coffee shop. Don't ask me why. I still wasn't sure if I wanted to face Ezra or the glowing reminder on my wrist. Probably both. Ezra was there, looking as calm and soft as ever. His golden retriever energy turned all the way up. Morning, he said, sliding a fresh cup of oat milk latte across the counter. Thought you'd want this. I took it without hesitation. Thanks. The truth? I needed the caffeine and the distraction. We sat down at the little corner table, a safe space in this suddenly chaotic world. So, I started. What's the deal with these powers? You said my emotions control them, right? Ezra nodded. Yeah. The stronger the feeling, anger, fear, joy, the more your power reacts. You have to learn to harness it. I sighed, stirring my latte with a shaky hand. Sounds exhausting. It is, he admitted, but you're not alone. There are others like us. Some of them dangerous. My eyes narrowed. Like who? He hesitated, then whispered, there's a group called the Veil. They believe soul marks are a curse and want to erase all awakenings. They're hunting people like us. I blinked. Hunting? This just got way too real. Ezra looked at me, eyes soft but serious. That's why we need to stick together. Trust me. For the first time since the mark appeared, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this soft boy with the big brown eyes wasn't just my soulmate, but my best shot at surviving what's coming. Chapter 6. Training days and tough truths. The next week became a blur of awkward training sessions and stolen moments in the coffee shop. Ezra tried his best to teach me how to control the mark, but honestly, I was more likely to accidentally set off the fire alarm than summon any cool powers. Concentrate, he said, hands hovering just above my glowing wrist. I narrowed my eyes and took a deep breath. Focus. 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 Nothing. Okay. Maybe the whole soulmate magic thing is a scam, I grumbled. Ezra smiled gently. It's not. You're just resisting it. The mark reacts strongest when you accept it. I rolled my eyes. I'm not accepting anything. He laughed softly. You'll come around. But beneath his soft exterior, I could tell Ezra was worried. There was something he wasn't telling me, something about the veil, the danger we were in. One evening, as the city lights flickered outside, Ezra finally opened up. There are people who want to control us, use our powers, or destroy us. I looked at him, surprised by the seriousness in his voice. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Because I trust you, and because you're not just marked, you're important. My heart pounded. Important? Me? Suddenly, the confident baddie act felt fragile. Maybe this soulmate thing was real after all. Chapter 7. Close calls and confessions. It started with a text. Meet me at the park, urgent, Ezra. Curious and a little nervous, I grabbed my jacket and headed out. The city air was cool, but my wrist pulsed warmly, as if it knew something I didn't. Ezra was waiting by the fountain, looking unusually tense. Something happened, he said without preamble. The veil is closer than we thought. They're watching you. My stomach flipped. Watching me? Why? Because you're awakening fast. They want to capture you before your powers grow stronger. I took a breath, trying to steady my racing heart. So what do we do? Ezra smiled, a soft, reassuring curve that made my chest ache. We stick together, and I have a plan. Before I could ask more, his hand brushed against mine. The warmth from our connection spread like wildfire, calming my nerves and setting my skin on fire all at once. I know this is crazy, he whispered, but I think I'm falling for you. My breath caught. A confident baddie like me, falling for soft boy Ezra? Maybe this soulmate thing wasn't such a joke after all. Chapter 8. Under the city lights. That night, the city felt different, like it was holding its breath. Ezra and I met on the rooftop of my apartment building, the skyline glittering around us like a million tiny stars. His hand found mine, fingers entwining easily, warmth spreading through me. I never thought I'd believe in soulmates, I admitted, voice low. But with you, maybe there's something to it. He smiled softly, eyes full of something I hadn't expected, hope. Whatever happens next, he said, we face it together. Just then, my mark glowed brighter, pulsing in rhythm with my heartbeat. Looks like your powers are growing, Ezra said, concern flickering in his eyes. Suddenly, the rooftop door slammed open. Shadows moved fast too fast. The veil. We barely had time to react. Chapter 9. The veil strikes. Chaos erupted the moment the door burst open. Figures cloaked in black stormed the rooftop, their faces hidden behind sleek masks. The veil had found us. Ezra grabbed my hand, pulling me behind the low wall. Stay close. Don't let go. My mark flared bright, heat radiating up my arm like wildfire. Panic surged through me, but I forced myself to focus. Suddenly, the air around us shimmered. Ezra's eyes glowed soft gold as he whispered, trust me. With a wave of his hand, a shimmering barrier rose, blocking the veil's advance. They're strong, Ezra said, voice tense. But together, we can fight. I took a shaky breath, feeling power pulse beneath my skin. For the first time, I didn't want to run. I wanted to fight, marked for more. The rooftop became our battlefield. The veil's shadows pressed harder, but Ezra and I stood side by side, our marks glowing bright, merging light between us. I reached out, feeling energy flow from my wrist like a spark turning into a flame. I focused on the power on controlling it, not letting it control me. A wave of light shot forward, pushing back the attackers. Ezra's barrier shimmered, giving us just enough space to breathe and fight back. "This is just the beginning," Ezra said, eyes fierce. "But together, we're unstoppable." For the first time, I believed it. Soulmates weren't just a myth, they were a force, and I was ready. Chapter 10. After the storm, the rooftop was quiet now. The veil had retreated this time. Ezra and I stood panting, glowing marks dimming but still warm. "We did it," he said softly. I nodded, but my mind was racing. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about purpose. "Why us?" I asked. "Why me?" Ezra looked at me, eyes serious. "Because you're special. Your mark is one of a kind. It's a key." "To what?" I pressed. He hesitated. "To unlocking something bigger, something that could change everything." I swallowed hard. Suddenly, being marked felt less like a curse and more like a calling. New beginnings. Days later, the city hummed with a strange energy. Ezra and I met at the coffee shop, a new kind of bond between us. "We're just getting started," he said, eyes shining. I smiled, feeling the mark on my wrist pulse gently. "Whatever comes," I said, "we face it together." And this time, I meant it. Did you find the story interesting? If yes, kindly like, subscribe and share for more. Thank you for watching.